What if I told you the UK's grand push for net zero could actually be hurting our economy, spiking your energy bills, and even risking national security, all while China builds a coal plant every week? Let's break down why one political voice is calling for a serious rethink. Today, we're diving into a bold and controversial take from a UK political figure who's turning heads with a hard-hitting message. It's time to hit pause, and maybe even reverse course, on the UK's current path to net zero by 2050. He starts by clearing the air. He's not a climate change denier. In fact, back in 2015, he stood at the North Pole and saw the melting ice caps firsthand. He even represented the UK at COP26 in Glasgow and proudly backed the global push toward net zero. So what changed? Well, after taking on a new energy role in opposition, he did what any smart person does. He started asking questions, meeting experts, and digging into the numbers. And what he found? Frankly, it shook him. Let's rewind 20 years. Back in 2004, the UK was energy independent. We made enough to fuel ourselves. Fast forward to today. We import 40% of our energy, at a jaw-dropping cost of £40 billion a year. And as a result, the UK now has the highest electricity prices in the developed world. That's 5 times higher than the US and 7 times more than China when it comes to powering our industries. So where did we go wrong? According to him, it's our over-reliance on renewables, mainly wind and solar. While they sound like the future, they've been anything but reliable. The big issue? Intermittency. The wind doesn't always blow, and the sun certainly doesn't always shine, especially not in Britain. Yet we've doubled down on these energy sources, pouring billions into subsidies, levies, and upgrades to our national grid. Here's a jaw-dropper. In the UK, we've got enough renewable energy storage to last just 30 minutes. Even if we took all the battery storage in the world, we'd barely make it through half a day. Meanwhile, UK households are footing the bill. The Office for Budget Responsibility estimates that renewable-related costs alone will cost UK households £95 billion over the next 5 years. That's £3,400 per household. And yet, despite all of this investment, we're still massively reliant on gas, which we're now importing in large quantities, even though we've got it right under our feet. Worse still, the skilled workers from our once proud oil and gas industry are leaving the country because there's little incentive to stay. Only 58% are making the transition to renewables, and at a third of the pay. Let's talk about baseload, the energy we always need to keep the lights on. In the UK, we still turn to gas whenever renewables fall short. That means we're duplicating our energy efforts, paying for wind farms and gas reserves at the same time. And here's the kicker. The price you pay for electricity is still set by the cost of gas, even when it's the wind that's spinning. Meanwhile, our gas power plants are running on 20-year-old tech. Modern gas plants could be far more efficient and cleaner, costing as little as £65 per megawatt, compared to £90 to £120 for offshore wind, which also costs 16 times more to build per unit. And then there's nuclear, the one energy source that France relies on to deliver cheap, clean, and consistent power. No wonder their electricity costs half what we pay here. But the issue isn't just about economics. It's about national security. We now import 70% of our gas, mostly from Norway and the US. Friendly countries, yes, but what if those supply lines were cut or sabotaged? A pipeline disruption could throw the UK into chaos. So here's the big question. Why are we shutting down our own gas production, sacrificing 200,000 jobs, losing billions in tax revenue, and handing our energy security to foreign powers, all while importing from the same North Sea via Norway? And what about the geopolitical landscape? Countries like Germany are already suffering from high energy costs after moving away from nuclear and becoming dependent on Russian gas. The speaker argues that the UK has a massive opportunity to lead Europe, not just by talking green, but by producing affordable, reliable, and homegrown energy. He doesn't say we should abandon net zero entirely, far from it. His message is that we need a more realistic and affordable plan. A plan that works for the UK, not against it. He points out that since the peak of net zero enthusiasm at COP26, just 10 out of 195 countries submitted updated climate targets this year. And only one, the UK, reaffirmed the original 2050 goal. So here's his bottom line. How can we justify closing our domestic gas operations when we contribute just 1% of global emissions, while China opens a new coal plant every week and contributes 31%? It's time, he says, to stop blindly following an unachievable dream. Instead, let's focus on what's actually possible. Let's power a new industrial revolution, one built on clean, efficient, British energy. Because aiming for the cleanest energy system in the world is a great ambition, but only if it makes life better and cheaper for the people who live here. Do you think the UK's net zero plan is pushing us in the wrong direction? Should we rethink how we get there? Or is this just resistance to much needed change? Let me know what you think in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this story if it made you think differently. Catch you in the next one.